Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank you for tuning into this month's webinar, How Virtual Accounting and Bookkeeping Help You Build a Better Business. My name is Bill Gerber. I'm the co-founder of AccountingDepartment.com, which was established in 2004. I just want to tell you a little bit about who we are, just so you kind of know who's talking to you. So, AccountingDepartment.com is the next generation solution for business owners. We look to streamline and improve their accounting and bookkeeping functions. We use cutting-edge technology, forward-thinking culture, and dedicated full-service experts to process all this information. We typically work with small businesses, to help streamline and improve efficiencies in bookkeeping processes. The detailed, complete records that our bookkeepers process and produce is what sets us apart from everybody else. Our work provides the foundation for excellence in budgeting, forecasting, and financial analysis, which allows business owners to get snapshots and deep data of their information very quickly so they can make business decisions very fast. AccountingDepartment.com works with the cutting-edge technology that's out there to date. We have a lot of partners. Intuit is one of our partners. We use QuickBooks obviously to run everybody's accounting. QuickBooks Online now is a major force. Bill.com is another example of how payments and people paying vendors has changed drastically in the last year. T-Sheets is an example of a time billing program that allows you to track time on any device anywhere. We want to optimize your strategy. Spending about 10 to 15% of your time each month analyzing the right information has been proven to add $30,000 to $300,000 a year to your bottom line. It's the right financial indicators which vary from business to business and priority to priority. You need to pinpoint exactly which indicators you want to track and then make sure you are actually getting the right information. That can be easier said than done in a lot of situations. Business owners often get dragged against their will into accounting and bookkeeping. It's partially because the services in place to handle them rely too heavily on the owner, on his input, on his decision making. It creates redundancy and waste of time for everybody. Every second a business owner spends on a task that's not directly related to growing the business is a waste of time. Yet the majority of business owners often find themselves mirrored in administrative tasks. It often has to do with accounting issues. It's understandable how this happens. Accounting and financial data that result from it are crucial to the operation of the company. The reason for eliminating the bulk of the work from the business owner's plate is paramount. How do we do that? Accounting isn't typically optional, never is. All businesses must engage in accounting and bookkeeping regardless of their size and their scope. However, there are options out there for business owners to choose from. You can hire someone internally to take on the function every single day. Typically, it's overkill or not needed. You can outsource to places such as India, the Philippines, or Guatemala. You can hire a local bookkeeping company to send someone in once a week or twice a week as much as needed. You can use additional services offered by your CPA tax firm. Typically, they do bookkeeping in off-seasons to pick up revenue. You can also hire a virtual accounting company to become the virtual accounting department. All consolidated and related services that are now in one place. Just about every one of these options come with its inherent challenges that you'll come to find out more of. The options are of the 5 potential strategies for managing accounting and bookkeeping services. Only virtual accounting directly addresses all the major concerns that a business owner has. We kind of created this charts based on our personal knowledge and experience with our clients. Most of our AccountingDepartment.com clients come to us either after having a real bad experience with a different option or because they weren't able to find another option that could provide them with the service that they needed at the time of their business with their growth. Some of the most distinct needs and challenges we have heard frequently discuss many options that you see up above. So I'm just going to go across the top a little bit just to kind of show you to standardize your processes. So a lot of people have standard processes. Typically, an internal person does not. You know, they're coming in, doing what they have to do, and everything's in their head. CPA firms might have some, not really typical. Outsourcing companies, you've seen some on bigger scales, just on the AP side, for instance, they have some processes in place. Local bookkeeping firm, they might also. Virtual accounting company obviously has to, because it's kind of the nature of the beast. Make sure that you're up all the time. Backup and support, I'll just use an example of internal. If you have an internal bookkeeper and they don't show up, it's over. So if you hire a virtual company, they have to take care of you and have backup policies and procedures to make sure that you're up and running all the time. The risk of fraud, we'll talk about a little bit further. It's huge, obviously, with an internal person. With a virtual company, there's checks and balances throughout the whole entire system. Typically, an internal person doesn't use new technology. They're buried or just doing the job that was given to them. So they're not really looking for the latest and greatest. A virtual accounting company has got to be on all of the chat groups and all of the meetings and going to webinars and going to trade shows and finding out what the new technology is available to them today. What you saw in that slide earlier was not available 5 years ago. Privacy protection, obviously, internal person, there's no privacy. The person knows everything about your business. Virtually, it's completely private. There's no oversight typically on an internal person. Typically, maybe a CPA comes in once a quarter, once every 6 months, or once a year to look at what the bookkeeper's doing. With a virtual accounting company, obviously, there's a service level agreement that says we have to do what we are saying that we have to do, and it's a product coming out of our office, so there has to be checks and balances with some oversight involved at a CPA or controller level. Expertise, you might have that internally, and then obviously full-time, if that's what your business needs. Typically it doesn't when you streamline processes. Reasons people outsource and switch to virtual accounting is different for everybody. So making the decision to move your accounting and bookkeeping to a virtual agency isn't always easy, but there's certain features that a virtual accounting company to make things easier for your decision. The people we've seen adopting virtual accounting services at a much faster rate include some of the people that I show you above. So a typical dentist, just give me an example of a story from about 5 or 7 years ago, about 7 years ago now. So there was a dentist in Connecticut that was spending $50,000 salary plus $10,000 in benefits for a bookkeeper they had internal. So it was costing the small dentist office about $60,000. And a lot of people will come to outsource their accounting to save money. Obviously, at some point, the dentist realized that that was a lot of money to be spending on a small practice. So if he did outsource, he'd probably save money. And if there's competitors listening on the phone, you know that it does take $5,000 a month to do a dentist office accounting. There's also venture capital companies. A lot of business nowadays are venture capital backed. In the venture capitalists, they want a third-party professional company doing the books. They don't want the venture capital's brother, cousin, sister, aunt doing the books. They want the business owner to outsource it to a professional company so the venture capital company have the right numbers, the real-time numbers when they need the numbers for their meetings. There's a big thing about moving to outsourced accounting because of time. Obviously, if you have someone internally, they're going to get bogged down with administrative stuff first before they take care of the books, so things are never on time. Also, if you're trying to do it yourself, you're looking at doing it on nights or weekends after your day is obviously already full. So it becomes pure data entry at that point. You're just trying to get it in to get it done instead of getting stuff in the right place to make financial decisions on your business. There's a huge push for privacy now. Typically, businesses nowadays, they don't want someone locally knowing their business. They don't, so it's always keeping it private, keeping it out of people's, local environments is kind of a nice thing. If you're doing if you're a multi-million-dollar company, that's huge. Age is another thing. It doesn't matter what age. I mean, just to give you an example, typically a 65-year-old business owner that's passing the business down to the son or the daughter doesn't really, the son or the daughter doesn't really want to do it the way traditional dad did it. They don't want that internal bookkeeper anymore. They want the new and latest and greatest with technology. They know that things nowadays can be streamlined and changed to a better way. So they obviously have a different mindset. It's outsource everything that's not core is what's going on. Understanding virtual accounting and bookkeeping and what it means to you. In 2003 is when virtual accounting really became prominent. So virtual accounting was really only a possibility after the rise of high-speed internet and online computing. Since then, there's been huge talk about outsourcing and taking advantage of the access that the internet provides. Its primary focus has always been overseas, though, over to India, for instance, where they do menial data entry processing work. Largely overlooked is the opportunity to hire full-time U.S.-based employees, people that are trained, that are educated, that understand what's going on virtually. The biggest difference here is that outsourced to India is generally seen as just reducing cost, and outsourcing to a trained professional, U.S.-based company is all about isn't about saving money as it is about making money and having the opportunity to have things to you available all the time. Why outsource your accounting? I don't know. We have to find out. So, outsourcing your accounting it directly affects your business. How good you keep your accounting records is very important. So, the effects of proper accounting are undeniable. Simply put, the more often accounting is done and the degree to which accounting records are kept directly affects a company's chance of survival. Again, accounting isn't optional. The way you do it is, but it's not optional. Is outsourcing accounting for you? So maybe you're thinking about working with an outside company, but the decision to outsource accounting is an important one, and it should be. And you need to consider many factors before you engage with an outsourced company. If you find yourself meeting some of the factors on the list above, you're probably a good candidate to outsource your accounting, but it's ultimately your decision. If you find yourself in need of a bookkeeper or a bookkeeping service, obviously that's a good sign. You need financial statements because you can't get what you need when you need it. That's probably a good sign. You want to reduce overhead. Obviously, with the streamlined technology, we're probably going to be less expensive. It's not because we have cheap labor. It's because we use technology. You don't want to manage an accounting department. If you're a typical business owner like me, I didn't want to manage people. It's not the goal of the business. It's not really fun, especially managing people that don't really know what they do if you're talking to the accounting department. You need to restructure. A lot of businesses go through this. There's things that are going on between the office environment that they're in or just the way that they have to run their business, and they want to restructure. A lot of people, they know there's a better way. They want to use technology. Or they want to implement controls, and they can't force it. So they use an outsourced provider to make sure that everything is getting done the right way. A lot of business owners worry about fraud. They just know what they don't know. And they know the bookkeeper knows that they don't know what they're talking about. And it ends up being a tricky situation. The decision ultimately lays in who are you outsourcing to is what you need to decide. So you can outsource overseas, like we talked about. You can outsource to a traditional brick-and-mortar office, or you can outsource to a virtual accounting, whatever one you feel fits your business the best. Obviously, we're more biased to virtual accounting. So is virtual accounting better for your business? We can talk about it. There's tremendous long-term benefits to choosing a virtual accounting company. All of the benefits of general outsourcing, along with some additional cutting-edge benefits, make virtual accounting, typically an ideal situation for a lot of businesses. The long-term cost savings over time is unbelievable. If you had a business that was $1 million and the outsource provider comes in and streamlines the whole process, creates the policies, the procedures, the manuals, the processes to make your business run, and you flip it down to $2 million, how much more accounting really is there when you're talking about using the technology? When you outsource your accounting to a professional environment, it should allow you to focus on core, which all businesses should only be doing anyways. Obviously, the real-time information is just different. It's the way of the world now. So now you have real-time information up to date all the time. It's completely scalable. You can go as big as you want, and you're hiring experts. You're hiring experts to try to find them yourself. Instead of finding experts yourself, which you're not qualified a lot of times to do, you hire an expert in the field. I just want to talk about company overhead a little bit. Some of the cost savings associated with outsourcing accounting can be directly attributed to cost reductions in company-wide overhead. All of the costs of maintaining and managing employees are immediately removed and are taken on by the virtual company. And we're talking about sick, vacation, retirements. The big one that's not even listed there is training and managing of the staff. Focus on core business. It's just the way the world is now. I talk to all new businesses all the time, and all they want to do is do what they do best. And they want to outsource everything, from accounting to marketing to sales to what, it doesn't matter what it is. It's all gone. They want it out. So it just frees you up to do what you're doing best. Allows you to work on your business. And ultimately, it will improve your bottom line and improve your product or service focus. Experience and expertise. You're also benefiting from the highest level of skills and expertise without having to develop those people internally. You also don't need to hire some big accounting or big expensive firm. You don't need to train and invest in your internal staff. You get specialists that are trained in the latest technology. They're certified to provide services to you, and they're managed by someone that's not you. That's the whole key. Privacy is a big thing. Obviously, by engaging an outside firm, you put an added layer of privacy between your financial information and the rest of the world. Your virtual accounting company doesn't care why you have certain financial information or contribute to certain causes of how you decided to make distributions. A local company or internal staff, they care deeply. They might really care deeply about this information. But an outsourced provider, it just doesn't matter. So you eliminate jeopardizing your privacy. They're never going to say, hit John up for the fundraiser, he's the rich guy in town. They're never going to say, John's laying off people because they lost a big contract. They're never going to say, whatever the situation is. It's just a completely non-biased situation. Reduce the risk of fraud is a big deal, and you can Google this. But really, the biggest concern is this. Over time, you trust the people that work for you. And internally, if you have an internal bookkeeper, they really become a family member, just like part of your family. There's plenty of stories that we can tell you, and you can go Google, that basically says, they've stolen hundreds of thousands of dollars from businesses. In fact, about nearly 20% of small businesses have reported some sort of stealing at some point or another. We want to reduce the risk of fraud completely. But virtual accounting reduces the risk of fraud by putting in place standards, checks, and balances to maintain control and transparency. There's a separation of duties between controllers and bookkeepers, a system for audits to oversee the money trail, impartial check balances at each point to detect any financial discrepancies, and the structure for documenting every piece of information and communication is making sure it's documented to a T. Comprehensive accounting services. Virtual accounting services also employ a team approach. Typically it provides you with a wide range of services without having to manage multiple roles or systems. There are typically multiple means for instant communication, meaning you don't have to worry if someone else is being out sick. The entire operation is not resting on one person anymore. Backup and safety nets always exist at every turn to make sure that you're always up and running live all the time. Comprehensive accounting services. You also need to change your mindset from thinking, of virtual accounting as an outsourced data entry, and realize that it's actually a full-service, comprehensive operation now. It provides you with the key metrics you need to analyze your financial data and snapshots and dashboards on any frequency that you want. The amount of financial reporting at your fingertips will likely cover every key metric you want to have, and then some. You work with your virtual team to make sure the right dashboards are in place and the right information is available so you have what you need to run. In the big picture perspectives, there's always that time, confidence, and partnership. Only three things you can really think about. Time is key. Time nowadays is live. If you're not getting it live, you're missing. If you're once a week, once a month, it doesn't matter. It can be available to you at any point in a given day. There's no more asking for someone to give you something and waiting a week or two or three. Confidence is very important. Obviously, if you hire an expert's going to do what an expert's going to do, or you're going to dump them and go find somebody else. That's the key. And it's a partnership. You got to look at the outsourced provider as an extension of your company. It's a partnership. It's got to be a working relationship on a daily basis. Typical business owners always want to know, what do I got to do? Sounds like a lot of work. It's really not. It's a 50-50 relationship, but 90% of the workload is done by the outsourced provider. At most, bigger companies have an internal admin person that helps out. No big deal. Maybe they got to chase down a sales rep for a commission report or something. We need online access to everything to get going. Obviously, the bank accounts, credit card accounts, payroll accounts, it all syncs into the accounting file and really runs smooth. And if you can answer questions, obviously with travel and everything, but if you can answer questions by email or phone, that's the best. Typically, a good outsourced accounting function business will ask you questions in one email, get the answers they need to keep the data running and everything running smooth. That's typical. Why outsource? We kind of put some balloon here things for you, but long-term cost savings is unbelievable. Obviously, you want to improve the quality. Businesses that call us, they're in multiple states. They have sales tax issues. They have foreign currency going on. They want job costing, departmental tracking, and they know the company. They know the person internally they have is not going to be able to pull that off. It also allows you to focus on your core business that I told you about. The big one is also scalability. You need to realize that. All right, I want to wish everybody a happy holiday. This is Dennis, my partner, and this is me. So happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for spending time with me. Obviously, if you have any questions, you can email them to us, or you can pick up the phone and give us a call. You can email info@accountingdepartment.com. We also, if you want to learn more about your specific needs for your business, email us and we'll do a 30-minute consultation with you to find out if it's a good fit for you or not. And we'll talk to you soon. Have a good holiday season. Thank you. Bye-bye.